Greetings, my fellow freedom-loving sovereigns. Thank you for LL3's podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy neighborhood of South Florida. And today's date is June 26, 2019. So let us begin. Good day, my friends. Thanks for coming in or checking in. Yeah, so really hot out there. Triple degrees, triple digits on the heat index. So I'm at Stash, located at 109 Southwest 2nd Avenue in the heart of the Hemisphere District of Fort Lauderdale, adjacent with Revolution Live and America's Backyard. So the whole political hoopla and the House committees, all these folks talking about reparations for slavery. It's going to take all these years, and all the folks that are responsible have passed. Some claim, a couple claim will fix racism. I'm going to be mainly talking about that. And 5G City in the Quay side of Toronto. Sometimes it just really dawns on me that they want to open up the same wound, reopen it, continuously, in the name of progressivism. Stagnity is the way to go. I support this, so vote for me. Well, I'm going to went on this one article on it, and it came from the Huffington Post, which I got this from Yahoo News. And it says here, Robert E. Lee Decadent. Reparations are necessary if people want to fix racism. If the people are saying they want to fix racism or fix the issue in our country, then they need to put their money where their mouth is, says Reverend Robert W. Lee IV. So this is by Kimberly Yang. Came out last night. And let's just check it out. What he has to say here. A decadent of the Confederate Army, General Robert E. Lee believes that reparations are necessary to tackle racism. Reverend Robert W. Lee IV, the general's distant nephew, recently appeared on CNN Tonight after the House held a meeting on reparations for slavery. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Republican from Kentucky, had come under fire for saying he didn't think reparations for something that happened 150 years ago, for whom none of us currently living are responsible, is a good idea. I don't even like the man, but I have to agree in good faith. But let's just continue on here. I think we're always a work in progress in this country, but no one currently alive was responsible for that. And I don't think we should be trying to figure out how to compensate for it. McConnell said, Lee disagrees with the majority leader. It's going to take both people of color and white people to fix the mess that white people have made. Oh, really? I'm a white man. I've got a lot of privilege. It sounds like some higher stooge here, with all due respect. How can we use our privilege to literally put our money where our mouth is? If people are saying they want to fix racism or fix this issue in our country, they need to put their money where their mouth is. And that comes in the form of reparation. Yep. He is a hired stooge, it sounds like. I'm sorry for being a white man, but I'm getting paid to say it. Privilege? No. I don't need to get permission from the government to tell me how to think, who to marry, and what I can do in my life. That's right. That's what privileges are. Asking permission for going to someone's property. Respecting their domain. Not violating others. And of course, you got the clowns here from CNN, the Comical News Network. Of course, they'll have all the bobbleheads, They all claim to be experts here. And it says, so he said on here on CNN tonight. So I might just take the initiative. Nah, I'm going to explain something on this later. In response both to those who feel the concept of privilege doesn't exist, Lee plainly stated that just because you say something doesn't exist doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Van Newkirk, writer for The Atlantic, who appeared on the same segment, added that white privilege has taken shape institutionally, citing discriminatory housing practices and home contracting buying schemes that cost black families in Chicago billions of dollars, and the millions of acres of farmland stolen from black farmers, Newkirk said. We actually have material documented estimates of exactly how much was stolen from black people by slavery and Jim Crow. These are the things we can put a ledger on, saying that the United States government was actually part of a party that was responsible for doing this, he said. He said. Lee previously made headlines after criticizing the President Donald Trump for calling the Confederate general a true great fighter and a great general. So he wants to mock his own ancestors? What an Uncle Tom that he is. Yep, and I say that ethically, folks. Last night, I was disheartened to hear Donald Trump, our president, make comments about Robert E. Lee as a great general and as an honorable man. These are far from the truth, Lee said. He added Robert E. Lee fought for the continued enslavement of black bodies. It was for states' rights, yes, but it was states' rights to own slaves. Well, can you explain why the cotton gin, Mr. Lee, has been invented and the slave trade demand has dwindled? How about the Irish? They were cheaper than the black folks. That's all fact. You read the documentation, the history on this. And don't get me wrong, my friends. This is a form of tyranny. Okay? Which I didn't condone or anything like that. But in due time, slavery was ending. Little by little. You didn't have to take a so-called civil war to end it. The Constitution ended slavery. It's by chrissandhall.com. I might just add that link to it so you folks can learn from her. It doesn't matter what you look like, where you come from, because it's the same recycled, reopened wound. They don't want to seal it. They're going to let it bleed periodically, give people the guilt trip, get people angry at one another as another form of divide and conquer. And that is dead wrong. You know what I'm going to say? A lot of the folks back then didn't get treated poorly, or didn't get discriminated. Of course not. That's absurd. A lot of people that know me, I posted stuff on my Facebook page and Spreaker. A lot of No Guns for Negroes by the JPFO. I talked about that. And I talked about some of the speech from Frederick Douglass. And I talked about, Reverend Jonas Clark as well. The pastor that shot at the British soldiers to defend the people. Yes, folks. It's a lot more than this. And I'm not the only one that's critical on this matter. I'm sorry, Robert E. Lee IV. With all due respect and in good faith, you're just a hired stooge. I hate to say it. Don't go around saying white privilege. To me, you're just as attributes of recycled junk. Speaking of reparations for slavery, this one came out from the creators.com. Yesterday, to be exact. Is it yesterday? Yeah, I'll say about yesterday, a couple of days ago. Yeah, I can use that. And this one here is reparations for slavery. by Walter E. Williams. Let me see if I can... Several Democratic presidential hopefuls are calling for Americans to make reparations for slavery. On June 19th, the House Judiciary Subcommittee on the Constitution, Civil Rights, and Civil Liberties held a hearing. It stated a purpose was to examine through open and constructive discourse the legacy of the transatlantic slave trade, its continuing impact on the community, and the path to restorative justice. Slavery was a gross violation of human rights. Justice demands that all participants in the transatlantic slave trade make compensatory reparation payments to slavery. However, there is no way that Europeans could have captured millions of Africans. That means compensation would have to be paid by Africans and Arabs who captured and sold slaves to Europeans, in addition to the people who bought and used slaves. Since slaves and slave traders and owners are no longer with us, compensation is beyond our reach, and it matters that will have to be settled in hell or heaven. Let's pretend for a moment that the reparations issue makes a modicum of sense. There's a question of responsibility. More explicitly, should we compensate a black person today by punishing a white person of today, by taking his money for what a white person of yesteryear did to a black person of yesteryear? If we believe in an individual accountability, we should find that doing so is unjust. In other words, are the tens of millions of Europeans, Asians, Latin Americans who immigrated to the U.S. in the late 19th and 20th centuries responsible for slavery? And should they be forced to cough up reparations? What about decadents of northern whites who fought and died in the name of freeing slaves? Should they pay reparations to black Americans? What about non-slave owning southern whites who were a majority of southern whites? Should their decadents be made to pay reparations? Reparation advocates make unchallenged pronouncement that the United States became rich on the backs of free black labor. That's utter nonsense. While some slave owners became rich, slavery does not have a good record of producing wealth. Slavery existed in the southern states and outlawed in most of the northern states. Buying into the reparations argument suggests that the antebellum South was rich and the slave-starved North was poor. The truth is just the opposite. In fact, the poorest states in the regions of our country were places where slavery flourished. Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, and the richest states in the regions were those where slavery was absent: Pennsylvania, New York, and Massachusetts. The reparations movement would be an amusing sideshow were it not for its damaging distractions. It grossly misallocates resources that could be better spent elsewhere. According to the State Department of Education, 75% of black California boys cannot meet state reading standards. In 2016, in 13 of Baltimore's 39 schools, not a single student scored proficient on state's mathematics exams. In 6 other high schools, only 1% tested proficient in math. The same story of low education outcomes can be told about most cities with large black populations. I like to see lawyers bring class action lawsuits against public school systems in cities like Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, Detroit, and Los Angeles for conferring fraudulent high school diplomas. Such diplomas attest a 12th grade level academic achievement, when in fact, those youngsters often cannot perform at 6th or 7th grade levels. The nation's most dangerous big cities are Detroit, Oakland, St. Louis, Memphis, Stockton, Birmingham, Baltimore, Cleveland, Atlanta, Chicago, and Milwaukee. The common characteristics of most of these cities is that they have predominantly black populations, and blacks have considerable political power as mayors, city councilmen, and chiefs of police. Energy spent on reparations should be used to solve those problems. As of 2014, U.S. taxpayers have spent $22 trillion on Lyndon Johnson's war on poverty. and constant in 2012 dollars. Adjusted inflation, that's 3 times more was spent on all military wars since the American Revolution. If money alone were the answer, the many issues facing a large segment of the black community would have been resolved. There are another possible reparations issue completely ignored. Blacks as well as whites live on land taken, some brutally, from American Indians. Do blacks and whites owe American Indians anything? Interesting there, my friends. And this is why, I always enjoy his work. And if you look at Dr. Walter Williams, he is a black man, African descent, proud American, professor of economics at George Mason University. So, this is not from a racist or an Uncle Tom or David Duke. And the problem is this, my friends. All those individuals, these ratings, these cities, are not at the grade level they can be achieved. That's enslavement. It's going to continue with this mindset. And this is why the war on poverty, started by government, is just they're a parasite of society. They want to enslave every single one of us. All those clowns that are running for president. I'll say most of those of these are clowns. Support reparations of slavery, but when it comes to taking away certain natural-born rights, a la gun control as an example, they are being hypocritical on their own agenda. So, many others out there now. We do have a solution. Technology. It can be used to enhance humanity, including the beautiful people in those communities. Never leave your security eggs in the hands of the government or liberty eggs, whatever, because that's enslavement. Liberate yourselves from these bureaucratic tyrants. If you want to be used, you want to use people, make excuses, and have folks dwell in the past and have us all clash with one another. Something to really contemplate over thoroughly. But you know what? I gotta give Dr. Walter Williams a thumbs up on this article. And I did share that I did reply to the Yahoo News on the statement. And hopefully I'll get an answer. When people read it and you look at the photo, they can't say I'm being a racist. Because it's null and void. Speaking of liberty, this one here came from Bob Livingston Alerts. It says here, Discrimination is Liberty by Bob Livingston. States politicians, which means essentially all of them, believe or claim to believe they can legislate equality. As long as there have been governments, politicians have been dividing people into groups in order to pit them against each other as a squabble for government handouts, favors, and special privileges, all while claiming they want equality. Government panders to these groups, granting them a special status as minorities and providing them with extravagant subsidies. Minorities respond because they are conditioned to do so. Subsidies and racism and every form of otherism are subtle forms of economic warfare between the middle class and minorities. All is a masquerade for the benefit of a wicked political system. This Machiavellian strategy divides the masses and provides cover for the government crime syndicate. Since at least in the 1970s, Washington Congress weasels have been promoting the shibboleth that if one group or the other has perceived disadvantage in outcomes, then government must step in to ensure that everyone attains equal results. Yes, you all got to get equally screwed by us. Politicians and governments men believe or claim to believe that in all of their groups don't have equal outcome, then something other than hard work, intelligence, and seizing opportunities presented must be culpable. It needs bugbears to blame, and chief among them is discrimination. The doctrine of equality and fraternity as a doctrine of liberty as promoted during the French Revolution, as pushed by the government today, is a myth, a fiction, and a self-evident contradiction. It is impossible to have liberty and equality, yet the unthinking masses still today accept as this foundation of American democracy. On the contrary, the concept of human equality is basic to the destruction of human liberty. Equality is the organism of racism and otherism, as promoted by the government. Its purpose is the opposite of human liberty. It is systematic subversion of human liberty. Further and deeper conclusions are that when we hold two contradictory thoughts, such as liberty and equality, the result is double-mindedness and unstable thinking. See James chapter 1, verse 8. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, leading to greater receptivity to the power of suggestion. Interesting there. The closer we come to a total acceptance of the doctrine of human equality, the closer we come to slavery. In reality, human equality is an impossibility in the real world. As an instrument of government propaganda, it is a perfect organism. Politicians and government men will tell you that they could only end discrimination, then everyone would have equality. Democrats are now advancing a bill called the Equality Act. As with all government bills, this one does the exact opposite of what it claims. Ain't that true? I love the Patriot Act. How's that patriotic? Oh yeah, they'll be spying on suspected terrorists. Well, I have nothing to hide. Affordable Care Act, yeah, shove it down my throat, and I can't afford it. Continue on here. It will modify existing civil rights legislation to ban discrimination against LGBTQ people in employment, housing, public accommodations, jury service, education, federal programs, and credit. It would also essentially rescind Religious Freedom Restoration Act and require Christian churches and organizations to accommodate the mental illness and debauchery of the LGBTQ crowd in their wickedness and transgender crowd in their mental illness. A blatant assault on religious liberty. Look at that, folks. So they hate freedom of thought. Whenever a group or class of people is given special rights, which aren't really rights but privileges, the real natural rights of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness are turned on their ears and shoved down the memory hole. In other words, the rights of one are secondary to the rights of other simply because one subgroup of individuals have been granted special privileges that never before existed. More of the divide and conquer game between the people, the rank and file. Freedom to discriminate is essential to liberty. It is not a role of government to determine which discrimination is acceptable and which is not, or to enforce its own form of discrimination to correct another. Though, historically, that's precisely what's occurred. You discriminate every day of your life in everything you do. You discriminate when you chose your neighborhood and your house. You discriminate when you chose your job. You discriminate when you chose your church, or when you made a decision not to attend church at all. You discriminate when you choose your friends. You discriminate when you choose your doctor, or did before Obamacare, your barber, your travel agent. You discriminate when you choose your insurance agent, your auto repair shop, your in-home security monitor, your pest control service. You discriminate when you choose which movie to watch, which book to read, which electronic device you buy, which show to watch, which sporting team to follow. You discriminate in your choice of beer. You discriminate in your choice of car, American or foreign. Life in the country is about being free to make choices. Choices based on your own criteria rather than one mandated by the state. Don't like fried chicken? Stay out of KFC. Don't like pizza? Avoid Pizza Hut. Don't care for seafood? Red Lobster isn't the only restaurant in town. Denny's give you lousy service, stay away and tell your friends. Don't like Walmart compensates its workers? Buy your cheap Chinese junk from Target or Kmart, or the local mom and pop store, and your groceries from Publix or Kroger. Don't like that chicken fella's president supports traditional marriage? Buy your chicken sandwich from Burger King. They've gone all in our gay pride. Don't like this HD TVs? Chip and Joanna Gaines? Attend the church that defends traditional marriage? Change your channel. There are probably 175 more on your dial. Don't like Muslims? Stay out of the Middle East, mosque, Louis Farrakhan rallies, and U.S. prisons. And Dearborn, Michigan. Don't like Jews? Stay out of Israel, New York, especially the Diamond District, Massachusetts, or California synagogues. Don't like kids? Avoid daycares, schools, and playgrounds. And don't have unprotected sex. Don't like blacks? Move to Montana, Vermont, or Idaho. There aren't many there. Don't like whites? Move to Detroit, Jackson, Mississippi, Miami Gardens, Florida, Birmingham, Alabama, Baltimore, or Memphis, Tennessee. You will see some, but they'll be the minority. That's discrimination. It's also called liberty. Freedom of choice and the concept of natural law, freedom of association guaranteed in the First Amendment. Of course, America is no longer free. It just has the trappings and the name of a free country. I agree. It's funny because I see these folks on these inequality sites and so forth, and Trump is not, he's anti-equal rights and all that. I will tell you something. Even in unions, the Union Workers Bible, a little book I got from a brother that passed away in 2004. He gave me this book in 1999. And it's really good. Good booklet. Spiritual guidance and so forth. And it's like that with life in general. One of the things it says on there, you judge your fellow workers by their actions, regardless of race, color, creed, etc. And Dr. Martin Luther King said the same thing. You judge them by the content of their character. Period. If they're not suitable for you, you find them a distraction, a burden, you don't have to associate with them. It's ethics, my friends. We shouldn't be conscripted in who to like and who to associate with. That's anti-natural law. You want to resolve racism or minimize it? Start talking to one another like neighbors. You never know. You may have a great conversation going. I've done it so many times. I used to get people's attentions. I had a triple threat flag. I waved that in my community. It has a Confederate American flag in the middle, and the garrison says, "Don't tread on me." And someone found it discouraging. Young guy. But you know what? We had a real good conversation. Talk about history and so forth. We got to look at all sides of what happened on a horrific time with the so-called Civil War. You know, he had to agree. And he respected that. We still talk today. That's how it should be. Love your neighbors, love yourself. And if people don't want that, let it be. No waste of energy. You're not going to appreciate everybody. As long as you're proud of what you do what's right, and what you achieve spiritually. That's what counts. You got folks out there that got millions and multi-billionaires, multi-millionaires. They're human beings too. Lonely folks. And you got great individuals out there are achieving things. Some of them are amputated, but they still got progress. They're making things happen. And you know what? That should be inspiring. Don't worry about all the petty things, what's going on, all the distractions, the mind control propaganda we see every day, or hear, or people post on social media. I just laugh when I read some of the stuff on there, on the emails. I just, like, good grief. Shout out, do things backwards. Every one of us can make a difference. And we don't need government to make it happen. Only as ourselves. because those are our basic rights. We all have natural born rights, period. So do what's best for you and create relationships with everyone else that you believe you have something in common with. That's what missions are about. And that's how you can achieve things together. Alright. Always remember this. Respect is earned, but never given. We got one more here, my friends. Came from Mind Unleash. Yeah, I said Mind Unleash. Yeah, it's a good site, by the way. Good website. It's about technology. It came out yesterday. It says here, surveillance capitalism. Toronto urged to abandon Google's smart city. At least 2 officials involved in Google's Quasi project has already resigned. It's by Derek Bros. You guys did a lot of good work. Hopefully one day I'll go to Houston. I'll meet him in person. That'd be awesome. It says here, the smart city Quasi project in Toronto, Canada, continues to receive criticism from privacy advocates as well as current and former members of the project. Quasi is a smart city located on 12 acres of waterfront property southeast of downtown Canada, Toronto, Canada. The city represents a joint effort by the Canadian government agency, Waterfront Toronto, and Sidewalk Labs, which is owned by Google parent companies Alphabet Inc. Sidewalk Labs claimed Quayside will solve problems of traffic congestion, rising home prices, and environmental pollution. Oh, so electric smog is healthy to breathe. Good for the mind. There are even plans for housing developments and a school within the smart city. However, Quasi has consistently faced pushback due to a failure of built in the necessary privacy protections. The Guardian recently reported that U.S. venture capitalist Roger McNamee warned that tech companies like Google cannot be trusted to safely manage the data they collect on residents. McNamee wrote to the Toronto City Council warning them that Quasi is the most highly evolved version to date of something called surveillance capitalism. McNamee told the council that Google will use algorithms to nudge human behavior in ways that favor its business. McNamee is a founder of Silver Lake Partners, one of the world's largest technology investors and one of the early investors into Google and Facebook. No matter what Google is offering, the value of Toronto cannot possibly approach the value of your city is giving up. It is a dystopian vision that has no place in a democratic society. McNamee has been only one voice warning about the dangers of the Quasi project. The Guardian also notes that Jim Bazzelli, co-founder of BlackBerry Market Research in Motion, called the project a colonizing experiment in surveillance capitalism attempting to bulldoze important urban, civic, and political issues. At least 2 officials involved in the project have also resigned. Sadea Mazafar resigned from Waterfront Toronto, the advisory panel responsible for Quayside after the board showed a apathy and a lack of leadership regarding and shaky public trust. Recently, Anne Kavakian, one of Canada's leading privacy experts and Ontario's former privacy commissioner, became the latest person to resign from the project. Kavakian was brought on by Sidewalk Toronto as a consultant to help install a privacy by design framework. She was initially told that all data collected from residents would be deleted and rendered unidentifiable. She later learned that the third parties would be able to access unidentifiable information gathered at Quayside and decide to resign. I imagine us creating a smart city of privacy as opposed to a smart city of surveillance, Kavakian wrote in the resignation letter. Despite that many concerns and vocal opponents, Sidewalk Labs has released their master plan for Quayside, including plans to expand the project. The Toronto Star reports that Sidewalk Labs is calling for an independent, government-sanctioned data trust to establish responsible data use guidelines, approve and oversee proposed collection of urban data, make publicly accessible data that could be considered a public asset, and improve transparency. The Sidewalk has claimed they will not sell personal data gathered as part of the Smart City project, and we will not use personal information for advertising purposes. Yeah, I'm going to buy that. Okay, yeah, I trust you. I got nothing to hide. Beyond the health and privacy concerns related to the project, it's important to consider what the rollout of this technology means for everyone who does not consent to the technology. Residents cannot simply go in their homes or easily opt out of it. It is out everywhere. Julie DeLorenzo, a real estate developer who left the Waterfront Board in July, explained to the AEP that she wanted to know if those who didn't opt out, they opt in, would be told that they can leave. As one Toronto journalist wrote, it's one thing to willingly install Alexia in your home. It's another when publicly owned infrastructure, streets, bridges, and parks and plazas is Alexia, so to speak. Yep. Interesting here, my friends. Hey, give them a little donation if you can, too. So, that's a good site. You know, they're not relying on big corporate fundings. So, it was good to know. And I agree. Smart city for stupid people, right? Absolutely. I think it'd be funny, but people should really do. You got to find a way of countering it. I think everyone in Toronto should wear certain leaded material, cover themselves up, and get like those laser pointers they use for snipers, and just aim them at the cameras. If everyone started doing that, it'll drive them crazy. Remember this, my friends: every high-tech gadget has a flaw. And I expect people to crack codes and all that and get in without playing the game. It is extremely dangerous. It does affect the health, even to children as well, with the 5G technology. Some people may call it direct energy weapon. Anchoring for that. Well, I say this. Scrap it to the folks in the beautiful area of Toronto, Quayside area, and all of Canada. And you could tell the Federation, including Justin Trudeau, you could take your Big Brother attributes and Club of Rome mindset and shove it up your rear ends. And the truth hurts, my friends. And that is it. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share this throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or you said something that's interesting, want to know, if you send me something, that'd be great. Please address your correspondence with decorum. Furthermore, I will leave all my footnotes, including social media sites and email addresses, on my Spreaker page. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that the demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.